Okay, so good morning. Can you hear me, Saman? Good morning, Saman. Okay, all right. So what I'd like to do today is I sent you an assignment. It's a relatively simple assignment. First of all, it looks complex, but it's relatively simple. And I've given you lots of information and lots of and an example on your spreadsheet. It's got about 4 tabs on. I want to take you through that so you understand what I'm looking for. Okay. The reason this is a good assignment is because it's personal to you as students. It's what you want to do with your mark. Okay. Um, and so what I'd like to be able to do is to take you through, what I expect you to do. Okay. And this really is quite simple. Let's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share with you your spreadsheet. You should be able to I'll share. Make sure you can see the spreadsheet. Okay, you should be able to see the spreadsheet. Saman, if you can't see that, let me know. And Annie's already confirmed that she can see it. Okay, so,
I can hear and see now off my phone.
okay,
That's good. Thank you.
all right, so you're all good to go. So when you look at this spreadsheet, the first tab, and I'm at the bottom, wait, I've got 4 tabs. The first tab is your assignment. Essentially, the same as I posted to your Blackboard and in the assignments folder. Okay, so essentially, I don't want to go through that yet, but what I want to do is to go through the overall or the overview of how to utilize a Plan, Do, Check Act. And the thing I want you to take away right away from this is that if you can practice this method, if you can apply this method to your problem solving, if you can apply this method in your current job or your school activity, that's why I picked your school activity because it's common to everyone, is that you really can improve your overall performance to what you think. And the basic premise of TQM is that TQM, or total quality, wants to create a aggressive target. It is quite common for North Americans to say a 10% improvement is a large target. To the Japanese, who really implement TQM and live TQM daily, they say a 50% increase or an 80% increase is what they should try for, knowing that it's almost impossible to get that target. But the belief is that 70% or 80% of a high target is much better than 100% of a low target. Meaning, if you set a target at 10% improvement, and you get 10%, most of us are happy and we stop. We've got our target. Whereas when you put a stretch target out there, a significant target, say I want a 50% improvement, then it takes probably 2 or 3 rotations of a Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle to get there because you don't know everything up front. And as you go into a project or into this assignment, things may become more evident for you 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now, and then you change your plan accordingly. So the whole idea is continue to look at the gap. Where am I to my target? Okay, so when you look at your spreadsheet, you'll see up top is Plan, Do, Check, Act. The only difference I've changed here, you'll see P is now a P1 and a D1 and a C1 and an A1. That's really just to differentiate where you are in your rotation cycle. Okay. So what I want you to think about is the first thing that you should always do before you start any project or plan or this assignment is you should do a simple situational analysis. And that is not a difficult thing. It is just a listing of the facts, not interpreting the facts, not trying to project what your solution might be. Just tell me the facts, or tell yourself the facts. So, for example, in this assignment, what I'm trying to do here is to take your mark from what your base average is, what your current overall GPA is. And I have to use percent because Blackboard doesn't give us a running GPA of 7.4 for a course, and your GPA 7.4, you know, I mean, a 3.7 or 3.2 or 4, whatever that GPA might be, is only done on your all of your subjects put together. So that's why when I look at percentages, that's what I'd like you to do. So if you're currently, let me use me as an example. If I'm currently a 75% average, and that's what my 2.5 years or 2 years, my first 2 years of Seneca, and I'm a 75% average, that's your GPA at this point, okay? One would presume that if your average over 10 courses is 75, then your average over the 11th and 12th course would be about 75, just because it's an average, okay?
Can I have a question?
Yes.
So the GPA is the general GPA for all course or just only for this class?
Well, you can't do a GPA for this class. That's my point. It's on all your courses on your record at this point. So you can go and you can see what you're currently running at. I think that information is.
Sir, if we have like a 70 or whatever 3 GPA,
Mhm.
how can we update that GPA after like a mark, like 1 mark in one course?
So you can't. That's my point. Is your 73 GPA is your course average, your program average, your Seneca average. Okay. All I want you to do is recognize that's what it is. And then I want you to tell me, so when I say, tell me your current situation, it's 73, let's say 73, okay? And one would assume is that if you want to increase your GPA, then on your remaining courses in your third year, you need to do better than 73. Right? In order to increase your average, you need to then do better on the remaining courses. If you get 85 on the remaining of your courses, you will take your 73 GPA and you'll bring it up to 78 or 80. So what I want you to
So basically, you would want the current GPA
for
to be the GPA that we have before the semester?
Yes.
And then the actual GPA would be the GPA that we have this semester.
This course, just on OPM 600.
Okay.
Okay, that's what you're comparing is OPM 600 to your general GPA, your overall GPA. Okay, and so what I want you, and that's why I want you to think about. So again, your situation now, you just tell yourself, and you really are trying to say, give me some facts. One is my current GPA is 73. Okay, that's a fact. Okay. All right, you know how to measure that. It's a percent, so therefore it's an easy unit to say. Then what else impacts your study? You know, and I gave you some examples on your assignment where it might be maybe you hold a job or two part-time jobs, or you got a heavy workload on your courses, or you're volunteering, or you spend 10 hours a week on video games, things that you can affect your study. And I want you to be honest with yourself, not with me, because it really has no impact on me personally, but it does have a big impact on you. Because ultimately, if you want to change something, if you want to improve that mark, then you may have to make some changes in what you're doing. Because if you're already doing them, your mark will be higher. So my requirement here for us is I want OPM 600 to be your highest mark on your whole list of courses. And why I want that for you is simply that if you go into supply chain management for your career, some employers are going to ask you, can I see your transcripts? And they're going to look at your transcripts and say, oh, your English was 55. Oh, your purchasing was 85. And you're applying for a purchasing job, therefore, you got a very good mark in purchasing, therefore, it would imply that you know what you're doing. Okay? So I'm trying to drive your transcript to make sure that purchasing and supply chain, both OPM 600 and OPM 620, has a high score so that on your resume you can show a very good result, or your transcript when your employer asks for it. Okay, because that's what your career is. That's what you're going to look for to make your career. So it should be your best mark. Okay, and that's what I want to do here. So this assignment is a self-improvement assignment. Okay, while learning the concept of PDCA. You okay with that? Okay, so your 73 is your, and so in that plan document, and you'll see at the bottom of your page, I've given you a sample document. Let me flip a tab here to the third tab. When you're looking, yeah,
Professor, can I ask that what is
we-
aggressive GPA? What does it mean?
what is an aggressive target?
Yeah.
Aggressive means high.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right. So if you're now I'm on your third tab here. It says plan document. This is just an example, and this is a simple format because if you can put it down in writing, if you can make a format, then you can understand what you're doing, and you can also show your boss when you do this in real life. Okay, so here's my boss. Here's my plan. This is what I intend to do. Do you agree? And they will acknowledge it because physically they can see it. And one thing to hear is another thing to see. When you combine hearing and seeing, it is better. So under your essay, just do the facts. My current overall GPA is 73. I have 2 part-time jobs. I am socially active, in demand, for example, meaning I'm busy. I got lots of friends. All right. So all that's for is when you write down an essay up here, it helps you prepare your plan down below because it helps you recognize what's my real situation. Okay. And again, this is personal to you. It's nothing to do with the class. It's nothing to do. This is what you should do. Then I want you this week to then set an aggressive target. So what is an aggressive target? If you have a 73% average and you say, I would like to get a 75. Is 75 aggressive? Is it a stretch target compared to 73? The answer is obviously no. It's 2 points. Okay. If you say I've got a 73 and I'm going to stretch for a 99, that's probably unrealistic. It's maybe too much of a stretch. But theoretically, you should really set a target for what you hope to attain. What is a stretch target on what you hope to attain? So maybe, for example, you say, I would like to get an 85. That's a 20% increase. Right? It's 85, 87. And if you don't have any 85s or 88s on your transcript now, it'd be nice if you got an 88 in your career choice. So it's not that the 88 is a guarantee, 85 is a guarantee, but you need to know what you're aiming for. If you can't see the target, if you don't know what you're aiming for, how do you hope to hit it? And if you don't know, you give you a challenge to say, okay, I'm going to look for an 80 or an 85. I'm not going to give you an 85 just because you're asking for it. I'm going to make you work to get your 85. And you'll get that, okay? But if, for example, in my condition here, I've got 2 part-time jobs, you need to then decide, so once you do your essay, just list the facts, and it could be 3 or 4 facts, it could be more. But don't give me a story, don't give yourself a story, just a bullet point. What is your condition? Okay? Then you set your target. And let's just say, for example, you've got 73 and now you're going to set the target to say, I've got an 85%. Now you'll notice that there's a comment box there, a little tab that just opened up that says, achieving 80% of a high target is better than 100% of a low target. Okay, so let's compare that.
Professor, can I add a question? That's because when you see the GPA, they just get the point only. So how can I transfer 2%? Because the point is so general.
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding you.
Like the point out of 4.
What document are you looking at now? The one I've got on the screen?
I think she's asking, like, for example, if you have a 3 GPA or whatever, 3.4 GPA, how does that translate into percentages?
I don't know. I actually don't know that. Remember, I'm a non-professional.
Because they don't have the percentage, they just have the point, and then like every class, if you higher than 80%, they're gonna get like 4 point. They doesn't have the percentage.
Okay, all right, okay. I'll ask Mary the question is how do I convert? What's the conversion for percentage to
Yeah, because
GPA?
like if you because every class, if you have like your mark is 80 over 80%, they're gonna get you 4 point for that
Yes,
class.
that's right. Is
Yeah,
anything over,
yeah,
that's why I don't like the 4.0 GPA or 3.3 because it's a general number for a range of subjects. So you should know what your running percentage is on your transcript now. You should know what your running percentage is.
I don't think they give you a percentage
yeah. They don't
with just
give
a
you a
GPA.
percent. They just
All
give you
right.
the GPA only.
Okay. All right. So then, if it doesn't give you that, then what mark do you hope to attain in this class? So then you can go straight to tell me what is your target. What mark do you want? So that's a simple thing for you to do. You can tell me what do you think you're capable of getting if you work really, really hard and everything goes well for you. What do you think you're capable of getting? And you don't have to tell me that with publicly, but you need to put it on your document. So what is your challenge? And that's what I want you to set. And it's you can pull it out your ear, but the reason I want to go through the whole concept of an essay is because in this assignment the essay may not make a lot of sense, but in any other project that you do in your job, it does make perfect sense because you have to know where you start from before you know where you're going. Okay? I want to save 10% of my purchases. The essay should say my purchases is $1 million. It's a fact. It's 1 million so that when I say I want to make a 10% savings on my purchases, I now know I'm going to make a 10% saving on $1 million. If I just say I want to make 10% savings and I don't know what my spend is, how do you measure it? And that's the whole thing about TQM. It measures your progress and asks you to adjust your activity based on your performance. Meaning, if you set a target and you're above target and you're doing 5 things to get there, keep doing them because you're above target. You're exceeding your target. But if you, for example, you set an 85% average for this course and you're running at 82, you are below target. And in order to get it to 85, you've got to change something. Okay, and that's what the process is here, is by stating where you are, stating where you're going, as to what target do I want to get, what percentage do I want to finish with, what are you going to do to get that? And you may say, and then in this case, be as simple as you say, I've got 85, and you listed 5 things that you're currently doing. But if you're not at that 85 now, one has to say, what else do you need to do to get to 85? So the whole concept here is to make you work to exceed this target. Set your target and then try and beat it. But if you don't do specific activities, you will never, never meet the target unless it is by luck. And if you don't measure where you are, you don't actually know where you are because you haven't set a target. You're not measuring against anything. So what is success for you? This is a simple example of doing this. In something that I told you in your assignment or one time before is that if you can do this process and you can get good at this process, meaning you do it 3, 4, 10 times, you'll be well ahead of your peers in your job workplace because they don't do this. They are going flying by the seat of their pants, just doing what they do every day. You'll have a plan that says, I can change and I can make my life better by working hard, and your boss will recognize this and it will then lead you to a higher promotional capability. That's what I'm trying to teach you, is something that will change your life and give you something on your new job when you get one, your career, that will separate you from the rest of your peers. That is why you have to do this. I learned this at 45 years old. If you can learn this at 22 years old and 25 years old, you are 20 years ahead of where I am. And then the next 5 years, 10 years, if you keep doing this type of process, it becomes automatic. But I document it every time I go into a project for the simple reason I need to know where I am, where I'm going, and I'm a practitioner of PQM, PDCA. I do this all the time. I can tell you if you don't record it and you don't make a plan, you will not achieve the aggressive targets. It just won't happen. And that's why I want you to learn this. This is a career changer for you that will give you something in your toolbox that most people do not have. Okay? That's why I want you to go through this. And it's a little bit painful until you do it once or twice. But once you get it done and you see the results, and your boss sees the results that you can do on special projects and different things, you are going to excel in your career. But you've got to make the effort. Nothing comes without effort. And I'm going to give you an example of an Olympic athlete. Not all Olympic athletes are born Olympic athletes. They're born with athletic ability. They're born with the capability to run fast, to jump high, to do this or to do that. But in order to get to that high level of winning a medal at the Olympic Games, they must put in a tremendous amount of preparation and effort and practice. And they record that progress because they know in order to qualify for the 100-yard dash, the 100 meters, in order to qualify for the 100 meters, they have to have a score of a time of 10.65. That is a break even. That is a minimum that you need to get into the race. And even though you're the best in your country at 100 meters, if your time is 11 seconds and the standard is 10.6, you're not getting into the Olympic Games. So you have to have that aggressive target in front of you. You need to know what you're doing. And this document should be a live document that you change and modify and update. All right. So far, your GPA is 3.4. I'll see if there's a conversion as to what that might be. But if not, then just tell me what score do you want to attain in this course. And then,
from what I see, I think like 70 to 74 would be a 3.
yes.
And then anything over 3.5 would be 75 to 79.
Okay.
And then just like the other way. So if you had a C plus, it would be like a 2.5 at a 65.
Okay, good. All right.
Like
and do you have a document on that you can share?
I just pulled it up online, but it's not straight off Seneca, so I'm not positive.
That's all right. It doesn't need to be Seneca. Seneca can't change
it's on the...
So man, Seneca can't change their definition of GPA. GPA is a global standard. So if what you're seeing is...
I'm just seeing different things on a couple different places, but apparently they had a source from Seneca.
Okay.
From Seneca. Sorry, my voice is echoing.
Right. If you can send me a link for that, then we'll post that just so people know what to do. But essentially, where you are now, and if you're a C, then say my GPA is a C plus. That's okay. But then you need to then say, what do you want to get in this course? Do you want a C plus? Do you want something more? And again, the reason I'm asking you to do this, I want this to be your best mark that you've got on your transcript because it's going to affect your career. All right?
Sir, where do you want me to send it?
Send to my Seneca email.
Sure, no problem.
Okay? If you can, thank you. But so even you can use the GPA you've got. So whatever your GPA is, just state your current GPA. And then we'll make sure the conversion is there so people can see it. But then tell me, what do you want? Okay, and then based on that, you can say, I'm happy with my 3.2 GPA. Then it's your choice. But I think that if you want to improve, and I think if you want to make this your best mark, you need to do something. So set the aggressive target, and then the next part is you make your plan. Okay, so let me go back to the overview. So essay says make it, what's your current condition, set an aggressive target, and you need to know how to measure it. Because if you can't measure it, like you physically don't know how to measure it, how can you improve it? So I'm going to use, I'm a chunky guy and I always fight with my weight to keep my weight down because I can get fat pretty quickly personally. So I know that my target is, say, 185 pounds. And I try to get there and stay there, and I'm not there, but I keep trying to get there, and I get a little bit closer and a little bit closer and a little bit closer. But I have to do some activity to get there. So that's what I'm saying is, what do I need to do in your second part is, what do you need to do to achieve your target? And it may be in your case, you just tell me what you're doing now. And if that's what you want to do, but it's only getting you 3.1 GPA, it's going to probably get you 3.1 again. So what do you need to do to get a good mark in this course? And I need to read the material, I need to spend 1 hour a day on, or whatever you assign to it, stuff that you can track and say, am I doing it or not? Because if you can't tell me what you're doing, then you're not going to do it. And I'm trying to make you be honest with yourselves that says, do you want to improve or not? Well, you don't have a choice. I'm asking you to improve. I'm asking you to be as high as you can go. So that's why this document here under 2.0 is identify 2, 3, 6, whatever items you can identify that will help you attain your target, and just write them down. And again, know how to measure them. Just, if you can't measure them, like study time is time, it's minutes. Tell me what you need to do, and then based on that, you should create a document. All right. So a document should say, this is where I am, and this document is just a simple one. There's nothing on here, but clearly you want to see your progress. Okay. So that's the things that you have to do this week. You have to establish for me this baseline condition that tells me this. Okay. And then you submit that to me by next Sunday.
So the P1 is the chart with the status and the performance as well, right?
It's just a plan. It's just a plan you need to come up with, and that's why I've given you a plan document. And this plan document as an example, you need to come up with a basis for your plan. So P1 is this entire plan that you make, okay? P2 is your second plan when you see your results are not as good. P3 is your third plan when you see your results are not so good. Okay, so right now focus on P1, and most likely you're going to have to rotate PDCA, or your target's not aggressive enough. But that's what I'm trying to have you do. So just go through and do this, and there's your P1. Then once you do that, you need to do the activity. There's no point making this plan if you don't do it. All right, so then you do these 3 things that you said you're going to do, and you watch based on your tracking plan. And that's when you see over here this little graph here, you can see the red line before, then you can see the green line, which is your actual situation. So the reason I don't want to post I want you to do this now is because right now, after your couple of discussion boards and your quizzes and your small assignment, you're going to have a mark, and it's probably a good mark because most people do well on the quizzes. So you're probably sitting at a high mark at this point where you're going to be. Okay, and so don't make your aggressive target based on your current GPA, your current mark in this course, but on your average one, so that you know what you're trying to do. So if, for example, again, come back to the 73, and you're now sitting at 82 because you've done well on your quiz at 85, you're already above your target. But as you add your midterms, as you add this assignment, as you add your next discussion board, that's going to change. And it's going to start to go back to a normal, a balance, what it might be. Because again, are you going to get 85 on your midterm? Hopefully you did, but I don't know that. So I want you to establish the baseline now before I put the marks in, because then you can start to plot your progress. And this little green line is just plotting your progress. You can do it at any particular time because you see it on your grade center. You can see where you are, and you can put your percentage in. Okay, so you will know if and when I see you can see on this C1, the little check graph, is that if I come below the line, I need to do something different. You recognize you're not on target, then do something. And that's the magic here, is recognize where you are to what you said you would do. And if you're below the target line, you need to correct it. it's like a running graph. If I don't know I'm 200 pounds, how the hell do I know what to correct? But as soon as I step on the scale and it says I'm 250 pounds, it tells me I have to lose my weight. Now, if I do nothing, next week I'll still be 250 pounds. But if I start to walk, or start to run a little bit, or maybe bicycle, or do something, cut back my food, I can do something about it. Okay? And that's how I know this works. And it works every time if you look at your chart and say, and this is the magic right here. When you see a chart, and your own chart, and where your own progress is, which you can track, you know, do you need to improve or not? You don't need me to tell you you're not hitting target. You need to know you're not hitting your target that you promised you try and get. Now do something else, which means you need to look at your plan and make a new plan. All right, and that's
Sir, I have a couple questions about this graph.
Okay.
So basically, your current GPA will run constant throughout the whole chart.
This blue line here, Saman. See the blue line? That's your current GPA. All right, and that's what it says. Current GPA. But then it's constant because it's not changing until the end.
Right. No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
But then the planned GPA, would that go up from week 1 and then stay constant throughout from right now, which would be week 7, for example? Or
for a second, it can't be constant because every time you're doing a quiz, every time you do an assignment, every time you do a midterm, you get a different mark.
But that's your plan, not your actual.
That's right. So you can draw a straight line that says, where do you want to be by the end of the term? I see what you're saying. I can make this red line a straight line. Yes, I can. I can make it a straight line.
Okay.
It's just an example. Okay. It's a figurative example. That's all.
Sure.
Okay.
So then I could have it we could have it at 0 at week 1 and then up to at like week 6 or 7, which is about right now, and then constant throughout. Is that okay?
Or just make it constant. That's a good point. If you want to make it
constant, that's okay. Okay.
As long.
And then the other thing is, go ahead.
Now, as long as you see the graph and it's helping you understand where you are to your graph, okay? So then if your red line is constant, your plan is constant, that's okay, 85% say, all right? So you've got a line at 73 and you would have a line at 85.
Right.
All right?
And then the last question, sorry, one more. The actual mark, which would be our OPM mark, are we updating that on the graph every time we get a mark, or are we going to do it like this? Like if we do every week, should we update it every week? Okay, so we could. I
think when we change your mark based on assignment, or I change the mark because of GPA, I would go in and update my graph. That the quicker you recognize where you are, the quicker you may react to it and change it for the next one. There's no point waiting and saying, and again, what most North Americans do is we wait to the end of the project and we check the results and we say, oh shit, I didn't quite make my target. Why are we waiting to the end of the project to determine whether you achieved the result or not? You must be able to track your progress to say, am I doing the right things? And if you're not doing the right things, stop doing them. And that's really what on this little check here, in the check function, is here's your action plan you made, and I'm making some physical notation of what I've done. Item 1's a question mark, but whatever I did on item 1, I did it well, and the result's a green dot, which is TQM symbolism for good. You know, the second thing I didn't do, therefore I got an X. It says I didn't do it, and the result is I get an X. All right. Now just go over here and you can see the P2. When I do my P2, I might as well stop doing item 2 because I'm not doing it anyway, but I can add item 4 and 5 to make it better because now I know more. So the whole thing is this basic P1 document is going to become a P2 document, is going to become a P3 document just by adding a little bit or changing or tell me what you're doing again. All right. I'm trying to make it as simple on here as possible that you see it's a living document.
Sir, what does the yellow stand for?
What do you think a yellow stands for? What does that look like when you see a green, red, yellow? What does it look like?
I've done it, but it's not finished.
No. It's a traffic light. It's a traffic light. Hold on. It's a traffic light that says green is good, go. Red is stop, So stop doing it. It's not a good result. Okay, an X or a red X, and that's why it's red. And the yellow is, I'm making progress. It's caution. Don't go through the light. Be careful. So again, the whole idea of red, yellow, green is to show levels of activity and results.
Okay, thank you.
And you can just put anything there you want. TQM is a simple graphical thing because people of different languages can see instantaneously what your result is. I don't need to speak Japanese to tell my Japanese president I'm on track or not. He looks at a green dot and says it's a good result. He looks at a red X or a red stop sign and says no, it's not a good result. And on a document of 100 items, and we've got many, many items on a timing schedule, our presidents look for anything red X or red circle. And they focus in on that because that obviously is the problem areas. Okay? And so what I'm trying to teach you here is when you make a graphical representation of your progress, you make a graphical representation of your plan, people can see where you are instantaneously. They don't have time to sit for 2 hours and talk about it. Tell me where you are, show me where you are, thank you very much, I know where you are, now we go. I can see that. And that's all that is a way of teaching people. Make it simple, make it an image, and if you go to Toyota, and you will go to Toyota at the end of October, you'll see this constantly if you look for it. That is what they do. This is what TQM is. They are the masters, and I'm trying to teach you something that says it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be simple, but you have to do it. So you need to go through the plan, do, check, act cycle, checking the results, and that's what I'm saying. You can do it weekly. So the plan may stay consistent, and you can check it completely. And as long as you're on track or you're better than target, then keep doing it. It's that simple. But you need to record what you're doing so that you know when you start to slip off down here that you can go, oh shit. And this little green thing indicates, quite honestly, what happens. You go up, you go down, you go up, you go down. But this end one is saying right now, if I was to continue this trend, the trend is going to be downward. And that's what I'm trying to make you aware is if you know your situation, you know your progress, you're on or off target, you can do something about it. That's the essence of TQM. Okay? And you don't do this now in your course, and you don't do this on any of your courses, and I know that because it's a different concept. You're going to hope you're hoping that you get a good score. You can actually govern and control that good score by making a plan to achieve it. Okay? And that's really all this document says. All right, and there's a sample document to do it. And there's a blank document if you don't. And you can use it, by the way, you can use any format you want. I don't care. I just want you to know what your plan is, and I want you to be able to measure to your plan. Okay?
Sir, I have a question.
Yep.
If we're updating the actual GPA by assignment or quiz, for example, can we make the x-axis, do you think, just the assignment or quiz name rather than the week?
No.
Because it would be, I'm not sure how I would update it if we're updating it every assignment or quiz, but not necessarily every week. I don't know how that would look.
All right, so let's go. No, I can't show you a grade center because it's private. But if you look at your grade center, it tells you what your current average is. It tells you what your percentage is in the total column. And then beyond that is quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3, your discussion board to date, your midterm when I post it. It will change that number instantaneously when I post your marks. It is always live based on what's been submitted and based on what's been marked. So if you look at your GPA, your grade center now, Saman, you can see what your percentage is.
Yeah, I do, yeah. No, I'm just wondering because if we're not updating it every week and our x-axis...
I am updating it every time you make a submission.
No, I update it. No, I understand. No, I'm not saying you're not updating it.
I know.
I'm just asking, like, how... Okay. Would you be okay just doing it every week on the chart then? That's fine with you?
You can do that. Of course it is. Personally, I would do
Okay.
it every week,
All right. I'll just,
or I would do it
yeah.
every time that you put something in. So once you get your mark, go in and update your
Okay.
mark,
All right.
because it's going to tell you what it actually is. Doesn't matter if your assignment is high or low, it changes your average high up or down, right? And as soon as I post your midterms,
Okay.
it's going to change that big number you've got of 85 or 87 now, or 90, whatever. And I could look at what you have on your quiz. Like, so if you what's your quizzes? You've been running 8 and 9, or 9 out of 10, so you're probably 90 on your quizzes, but you may not get 90 on your exam. And as soon as I put in you, so let's just say you get 70 on your exam, right? 70%. It's going to bring that 90 down pretty quickly, because there's more weight on your midterm. And that total column in your grade center takes into account the weighting that each item has. So when I post that, you will see what your new average is, and then you go in and make that change. It says on your chart, I'm now at 78. I still want to be 85, so how now do I get to 85? And again, you can say, I'm going to just continue doing what I'm doing, but I'm trying to make it conscious in your mind that says, check your result to where you want to be, and make adjustments if you can. It's not rocket science, and it's alien to what we're doing, because most of us fly by the seat of our pants and hope for the good result. If that's how you want to be, at the end of the day, that's what you're going to be. But I'm telling you, there's a better method, and a method that will make a big difference in your life and anything that you tackle, anything. If you think this can learn this process, and that's what I'm trying to teach you, something that will help you in your career for the rest of your life. Okay, and this is so, again, don't make it too difficult, in the sense that all you're really doing is going to check your progress to the chart that you created that says, I want to get to this number. All right?
Shane, can I have a question, please? What I see in the assignment right now, you want to do like P1, D1, C1, and A1, right?
Yes.
So I'm gonna submit like P1, D1, C1, and A1.
No. You can't. You cannot. All you can do right now is make
the P1 only.
Make your P1, which is you can do your essay. You can make your target. You can make a graph that says, "This is my plan. Tell me what your plan is." Then you're going to.
So just only P1.
So that's your plan. That's all you're trying to do here is make a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to apply the items on your plan,
Sure.
Annie, that you're doing. If you say, I'm going to study for 4 hours every day on this course,
Sure.
then you make a little chart that says daily, well, how much did I do? And although I want to do 4 hours every day, it's probably too much, and you can't study just purchasing, I know that. But you need to be able to say, what's the items that I can do to help me get my 85?
Okay.
To measure those, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then when you do these, and once I get your plan and you say, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to then put in your discussion board on Amazon, and there's an assignment on there, and I'm going to put in your midterm, and all of a sudden you're going to see your marks change from where they are today to where they're going to be on Sunday, and then you'll know whether or not you need to do more work, less work, change your work, or whatever you might have to do, because all of a sudden you're currently sitting at 90% average because you've only dealt with one discussion board and some quizzes, and so you got a high number. Now all of a sudden I'm going to give you your real number next week, and you go, oh shit, I'm only 80, not 90, and I want to get to 85, and it's going to show you where you are. Based on next Sunday, you're going to then take the next one that says you're going to react to what your results are.
Okay.
You're going
Got it.
You're going to react to that, and then go again, okay? And you probably don't have to do anything different next week when you see the score, because you're making a plan now and say, this is what I'm going to do. And you may be okay. But then as you do your next assignment or you do your next discussion board, I will update it again, and you can check it again, and you can check it again. But right now, all you do is look at your grade center and say, oh, I'm at 90%. Okay, good. Thank you.
And then I have a question that when I do the plan, should I do like fully assignment or just some point that I get for the files,
All right, so
like some
I'm not going
simple
to mark the
point?
first. I'm going to what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark half of your assignment. So I'm going to mark your plan and give you a score on your plan. Okay. I can't give you a score on the assignment until the end of the semester because this is
Yeah, I understand.
right to the end of the semester, right?
Yeah.
And the mark does not say whether or not you got a high score on your GPA or not. It's how you do this process. That's what I'm marking. So at the end of the day, if you end up with a 82, but you said you wanted to get 85, you didn't fail. You didn't miss your mark. As long as you went through the process and learn this process, that's what I'm marking. That's what I'm trying to get you to do. Okay?
So it means that for the assignment now, so you just do the simple situational analysis.
Yep. Yep.
So tell the fact about our current GPA, our target, and then the activity,
Yes. And
and
make
that's
a
it,
graph.
right?
That's right. So I'm back on your plan doc example. This is what I'm asking you to do, this first three things. Okay?
Yeah.
Once you get those three things done, then you can implement your plan. And that's what you're doing. And you're probably doing that now. But what you're trying to say, I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do up here. Okay? So I'm going
Yeah.
to implement this plan. And then you check your results. And next week, your result will be different than it is this week because there's stuff pending. But I want
Okay.
you to get a baseline. I'm simulating that there is change going to happen, and you're going to see it right away.
Okay, I get it.
All right?
So if I submit early, like on Thursday or Friday, and then you can review it to me before the full submission.
I
Can you do that?
try that, but I can't promise it, Annie, because if everybody submits everything on Thursday and say, okay, here's my plan, Jim, tell me how I'm doing so I can change it before you mark it. That's double work for everybody. So I want you to do a good job, and if I've got time to look at it, I will look at it, but I can't guarantee that, and that's why.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not saying
Okay, I got it.
I can't guarantee it. Okay, so make your
Okay.
plan, and again, it doesn't have to be complicated, but you should, if you've nothing, say for example, you don't do anything in this action plan,
Mm-hmm.
then the result is like you don't intend to do anything. I know that's not the case, so just tell me what you think to do there. You think that, and if you do these things, and you have to, like every time I put an action item here, and if I put an action item in there in my own life, I always ask the question, if I do this, will it help me achieve my goal? Okay. So, for example, I'm a big person on social media. I'm not a big person on social media, but I know that you are. Okay. I know that students are. Is that if I spend 10 hours on social media a week and I want to improve my mark, I can simply put on an action plan that says, I'm going to spend 6 hours on social media and use those extra 4 hours that I was on Facebook and Instagram and take those 4 hours that I just saved and I'm going to apply it to my studies. And as a result, I should improve my mark. And the answer will be absolutely correct. You will improve your mark. So if, for example, one of my action items is I'm going to spend less time on social media, my essay says I spend 10 hours now, so I'm going to try and target 8 hours or 6 hours. So you want to measure those 6 hours, right? You have to be able to measure it. And if you
Mm-hmm.
still are running 10 hours every day, then you know you're not doing your plan and you won't necessarily improve. Now, it doesn't guarantee you're going to improve if you cut back your social activity, but you have to change. Yeah, we don't have to change. You have to do things that will help you get them. So everything you put on your little action plan here, you should say, will this help me improve my mark? So let me give you a bad example. I'm going to reduce, action one, I'm going to reduce my social activity on Instagram. Item two is I'm going to eat better food. Now, does eating better food, more healthy food, does that give me a better mark? And the answer is no. Hunger has got nothing to do with or quality of food has got nothing to do with my GPA. Now you may argue, but I'll be feeling better and I'll study more. Yeah, it's hypothetical. But for me to say I'm going to I'm going to make healthier food choices, that's not going to help my GPA. So I would tell you on your assignment that's not going to help you. But something else might be is that you are going to specify every night, you're going to make time every night and schedule time every day to study. Then you say, I'm going to study every day, 4 to 5, purchasing and supply chain management. Again, I can measure that. Did you do it or not? Yes, I did. So if I do that every day and I'm not doing it now, will it improve my GPA? Absolutely it will. Because I'm doing something different that's going to help me improve my marks. So just list those things that will help you get to results. Okay?
So it means that I gonna do like the plan and do first for the assignment 1, right? So it means that I do the situational analysis and then I implement the plan,
Yep.
like the action and how to measure this, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then after that, the C1 and A1, I going to do after, like when you update the point.
Yes, Annie, completely correct. Because you can't do the check because you've just done your essay that says I'm 73.
Yeah, because when I read the assignment, I think that we just do plan 1, like P1 only. But when I read again, so it means that do P1 and D1 also.
That's
So
right.
yeah, it's already
So
okay.
you're going to do your P1 and you're going to
And
skip
D1.
your P1 right down to including a graph by next Sunday,
Yeah.
and then you're going to do you're going to do your activity, and then you check your activity. Starting next Sunday, you'll check your activity because you have a new result, and then you'll be able to say, oh, my mark is actually better than I thought. That's great. Okay, I'm ahead of plan. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. But
Okay, got it.
right, okay, and then 3 weeks from now, 2 weeks from now, you may check it again and realize that you are not doing well. So therefore, you go back to your P1 document and say, what do I have to do different? Okay. All right.
All right.
Okay. Saman, are you okay?
I'm good, thank you.
All right. So the fact that you've sat through this, it tells me this is not as simple as I think it is. It's always easy for a professor to say this is simple because remember, I live TQM, I live PDCA in my life. So I do this naturally, but trying to have document it and say you've got to start somewhere. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give you a habit. If you make it a habit, it will drastically improve your career.
So should I do it in the Excel or documents? So what you want to prefer? What you prefer?
No, just do it on a spreadsheet. Just do it.
Just Excel. Yeah,
Yep.
I think that Excel is better than document.
I don't need an essay. This is not an essay. I don't want an essay. I want bullet points to say this is what I'm going to do. Okay, It can be that simple.
Okay, so I gonna do in spreadsheets that you in that similar to example now. Okay.
Okay, all right. So work at it and put thought into it because this is again. I want you to take the bigger look at this. This is a simple assignment.
Yeah.
But if you learn how to do this and put time into doing this properly, and you can build your skill here, you will. I can guarantee you will be much further ahead in your career than if you don't do it. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Saman. Anything else from you, Saman?
No, I'm okay. Thank you so much.
All right. I know it's a lot of work to do. I know it's your reading week, but if I've got to work my reading week for your marks, you should be working also. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, Mehan joined us as well, so my apologies. So, let's get this done. If you want to send me your first ones in, I'll feed back to you right away, and let you know. But take the time to make a good plan, and you should be okay with what you're doing. Okay, just your P1.
Okay.
Just the plan documents. All you need to do by Sunday. After that, I'll get you through the next point. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much for your input, guys, and I will go from here and see what happens. If you send me in your example, I'll feed back to you right away. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you.